Hi everyone. So as you may know that these are the episodes where we call different people so that they can share their interview experiences. So thank you Saptarshi for doing this, especially on a weekend. So yeah. So first of all, for all the viewers, could you give a brief idea about your background?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you for calling me. Yeah, sure. So actually, I am in my final year of my MTech at ISI Kolkata, and I am doing my MTech in computer science with a specialization in data science and machine learning from ISI Kolkata itself. So before that, I like graduated in computer science, doing my BTech from Government College of Engineering in Kolkata itself. And after that, I was 8 months in TCS Digital. And after that, I joined IIT Hyderabad through giving their internal exam. So IIT Hyderabad has their internal exam. So it is called PGW. So basically, I got into IIT Hyderabad, and I just did their coursework for 1.5 months there. But my always dream was to pursue my career into data science and machine learning. And to pursue that, I thought ISI the one of the best colleges to pursue that career into. So therefore, I got a chance in that year itself to pursue my career in data science as an MTech from ISI. So I just shifted from IIT Hyderabad to ISI,
Okay, so just after
and
a
now
month
now
you switch your college itself.
yes, after a month and a half. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So you are doing masters in ISI Kolkata. Masters specialized in
Yes.
machine learning. Okay.
Yes.
And
So
how?
basically, it's MTech in computer science, and the specialization. So basically, there are four specialization out of which we can choose, and I am doing the specialization in data science.
Got it, got it. And how your experience in ISI?
Yeah, it's indelible. So basically, it was always my dream to get into ISI. So ISI has like the bachelor's course in BStat and MStat, which is considered as one of the toughest exam in all over
Yeah,
India.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I couldn't get through the BStat exam when I was in my bachelor's. So like it was a kind of a dream to come through when I just got my first steps into ISI campus. Uh, so from that day onwards till today itself, it was kind of a roller coaster journey, I'd rather say, because when I started the days in ISI, I was like in the top of my all the top of my days, like I'm pursuing the masters in ISI. I'm quite a bit like enjoying my days. But as the days goes on, so I actually understood that the things are not very much
Not
easy
easy.
because yeah, because the professors are very much strict and they don't understand anything other than mathematics. Like if I want to tell them any kind of intuition which is not based on mathematics, they won't clearly not hear it. So every of my ideas should be backed up by mathematics. That is one of the toughest things that you should be facing if you come into ISI itself. And like yeah, but the thing is that it has taught me a lot of things, and I would say that these 2 years has been the best 2 years in my entire educational career journey, educational career.
That's actually good to know. And that will motivate a lot of viewers to actually give the ISI entrance exam if they want to pursue masters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, Saptarshi, let's maybe delve down more into why did you want to have a specialization in machine learning? What made you think that you wanted to pursue your career in machine learning?
Yes. So basically, when I was in my bachelor's in BTech, mainly third year, I was kind of one of my professors was very much friendly with me, and I was doing a kind of paper with him. So at that time, I was doing a sports analytics kind of stuff. Like I was doing optimized team selection of IPL. So at that time, I was introduced to the machine learning because at that time, machine learning and data science was not a part of our course at that time. Later it got introduced, but still that was the point of entry of data science into my focus, because to be honest, I was not a very much computer geek in my 10th plus 2, because I was a bio student. Even I gave NEET. I scored good marks, and I was about to pursue dental. So I got a dental
So you
college
gave
after my
NEET.
10th plus 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I got a dental college in Kolkata itself, but there was a kind of dilemma that should I pursue dental or should I pursue BTech in a government college. So finally the engineering course won finally. So like I was not very much aware of the computer programming and these kind of stuffs, as I hadn't been exposed to those kind of things. But after the third year, my perspective towards computer science, my perspective towards the field of this computer science, and what are the new arena or the new genre of computer science that are coming up. So when I was doing it, it was the machine learning was in the mid of
Yeah.
its birth. Like it was not this kind of chat GPT, and this hype was not that much there
Yeah.
in 2017-18.
Mhm.
But the theoretical work was also going on. So at that time, I just the as everyone does. So I was first introduced with the Andrew Young's course. That is the famous course of the
Yes.
machine learning. But after that, I saw he was also offering some specialization in deep learning courses.
Yeah.
So I just uh, I took that courses, and I felt like this is the thing that I should be doing for my entire life, and I can do that without any hesitation. I felt so much uh, uh, intimated with those kind of things. So yeah, that is the first point at my career when I started to feel that machine learning should be my career and data science should be my career. And after that, when the paper got published in my bachelor's, I was completely into data science. And to be honest, I shouldn't be saying this, but I don't love actually DSA coding very much. And that is why I intentionally opt out from the SD typical SD profile, because that
Okay.
typical SD profile will need you a huge amount of competitive programming knowledge. But I am aware of those kind of DSA, but I don't like to do day in and
Got
day
it.
out.
Got
But
it. Got it.
as you are also a data scientist, you must be knowing that we also have to do a lot of coding in data science, but
Yeah.
not that kind of
Yeah. It's slightly
hardcore coding.
different. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Slightly, yeah. And yeah, that is the point of.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so let's come to the next section of the episode. So this section, I would like to know, or even the viewers would like to know, how did you find opportunities? So you must have done a couple of internships in currently. So how did you find opportunities? What is the way that you can find different opportunities or good opportunities for you? So is it networking? Is it maybe having contacts? Is it something via your placement cell? Or maybe just your experience in that?
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, like the first internship that I have done with Uber. So it was actually an on-campus internship, which was offered from ISA placement cell itself. And like it was a kind of mandatory internship that everyone has to do, but like in different companies. So that was the first thing. So after doing that, so before that I was having theoretical knowledge of the machine learning kind of stuffs. But
Got it.
after I
Got
was
it.
introduced with
Just a
the
brief
three
one.
months,
So that internship was machine learning internship, or was it a data scientist intern role? What role was it?
yeah, so it was basically the role was data science intern, but I had to do like I had to build a model of causal inferencing. So like the observation causal model I had to build from scratch actually. So it was more in a statistical background. So the work that I had to do over there was more inclined towards a statistical background than entirely from the machine learning model perspective. So that was the first thing. But after that time, I was like kind of laying idle instead of doing of other than doing the college coursework. I was kind of laying idle, as I was not doing any kind of actually fruitful stuffs. I was thinking myself, yeah, I was not doing any kind of fruitful stuffs, but I was like learning a lot of things because there are a lot of open source resources and free
Yes.
resources available
Yes.
nowadays online from where you can learn anytime you want. So I was learning at the same time, but I was feeling that I am not doing anything. So when you feel that you are not doing anything, I felt that it is the actual time that you are actually doing most of the thing, because in that time you are actually learning the things and you are actually looking for the opportunity, and those opportunities, if you are looking for 100 opportunities, actually one of them will be getting converted into the final opportunity. So the way I was looking for opportunities is mainly via LinkedIn. And I also had kind of profile in Naukri.com and Indeed.com, but they haven't helped me a lot of. So PS, this is not a promotional post. And yeah, so mainly the opportunities that I got via LinkedIn. So mainly I'd suggest ki, like if you want to do in kind of internship or a job to particular company or a particular role, just go for the XYZ company's page in LinkedIn, go to the jobs tab over there, and you can search that if there is kind of internship role. You can filter out if there is an internship role or entry level role, and what are the other roles. Like if you want some SD role, if you want some MLE role, you can just opt out for those roles. And but this is not the end, because if you have found out one of the internships roles over there, maybe applying there directly won't give you that role very easily. So what you can do, build a huge connection in LinkedIn, send the connection to anyone possible, everyone possible actually. And if you got a chance that there is a vacancy in the XYZ company, even in the internship role, just try to ask 4 to 5 connections of yours from that company for your referral. So the main thing was that, yeah. So for the Swiggy internship, actually one of my senior from my college gave me that this internship was going on. Like they are looking for some intern in the LinkedIn, and like I then applied for that, and then the further process happened. So the main thing was you have to be very much aware of what is going on, and maybe you can write some script and which can fetch all the things from LinkedIn to make you aware of this. What are the things going on? What are the jobs opening?
Got it. But in short, networking and then asking for referral made a lot of difference.
Yes, yes.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the next section of the episode. So in this section, so how did you prepare? Because viewers would definitely be interested in the preparation strategy. So if you can give a elaborate idea that how did you prepare for an interview? What kind of thought process you had? What kind of techniques, if you are willing to share, what kind of techniques you thought that would be beneficial in the preparation journey? And then you can maybe delve down on an experience that what you thought, and maybe if suppose given an option you are preparing again right now, what mistakes you made that time and what would you not make it again?
Yeah. Yeah. So firstly, I would rather say that whenever you are called for an interview, for the first and foremost thing that you have to do, you have to read very carefully the job description
JD.
that you have. Yeah. Because let's say I'm talking about from my perspective, there can be two kind of job description, like from MLE job description and data scientist job description. So both of the job descriptions are like a bit apart from each of them. So just try to be very much aware what they are wanting from you, what the company is actually wanting from you. So maybe you are aware of all the machine learning engineering stuffs and also the data scientist stuffs, but at that moment of interview, what they are wanting from you is very important. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that like if you are going for any data science or machine learning interview, as I was doing in that time, so you have to be very much familiar with the SQL first of all, because this is the day in and day out what our data scientists do for most of their time. Like for if they are working for 8 hours, they have to code in SQL for almost 2 to 3 hours itself in a day. So you have to be very much aware of SQL. So there are I used to use some of the like free website that were available at that moment. So one is lead code, obviously. Lead code has some of the SQL questions, and HackerRank also had at that point of time some of the SQL questions. So I used to solve all of them, all of the free lead code and HackerRank questions that were available. But nowadays, I actually practice from this nowadays. So there is two more advanced websites that are available for SQL. That is Strata Scratch, which is available freely, and you can also get like the YouTube videos of those SQL questions from Strata Scratch. And the other thing is that I don't remember the exact name, but it is actually the data science interview. So this was a book written by some person, is the data science interview, and it is the website created by himself. So it has all the data science and SQL questions well aligned, and you can go freely to that website and solve any questions available. So this is the second thing, that you should be very much aware of the SQL. And the third thing is that I haven't been interviewed on this kind of stuffs, but I felt like this should be a very much go-to or very much needed things, very much needed tool in your armor. That is the mathematics behind the machine learning concepts or the machine learning models that you may know. Like there might be tens and fifteens of classical machine learning models available to you, but you are actually familiar with 2 to 3 of them. So you have to be very much aware of the mathematical background of those 2 to 3. You don't need to know all the 10 to 15 models background, but you have to be very much familiar with those 2 to 3 models background. Same goes with the deep learning perspective as well, because the deep learning, there isn't much model available, but all of the things that are actually currently being applied in the state of the art of deep learning is basically the tweaking and turning of some model and some ablation studies. So if you are using some transformer, just add some other attention layer over the transformer, and then you can get the state of the art result. So that is how the deep learning research is currently going on, and OpenAI is actually doing the as scaling as possible. So basically, the goal of OpenAI is scaling. So the deep learning, you don't need to know a lot of theoretical stuffs in deep learning, but what you need to know, how the optimization is done for deep learning, how the loss or the background loss is actually calculated, how the back propagation is done. This kind of mathematical stuffs and tools you must be aware of, because if you go to the industry itself, you won't be needing those kind of mathematical things in your day in and day out. But if you are introduced with new kinds of stuff, as I was introduced with a new kind of stuff in my first day of Swiggy, that one of the deep forest. So whenever you are introduced to the new models that you haven't studied in your coursework or in your college days, so it will be very much good for you to pick that up with you if you are familiar with the mathematical stuff. So this is the third thing: the mathematics, SQL, and the job description. So these are the three foremost things that you'll be familiar with. And the final thing that should be there whenever you are going for an interview is that your confidence. So let's say you don't know anything about one model, but about, let's say, you don't know anything about XGBoost, and the interviewer have asked you about what is XGBoost, explain in detail. So you should be, if you are confident enough with your machine learning and mathematical model, there is two way to tackle this question. You can confuse the interviewer with your mathematical knowledge with the XGBoost, because XGBoost is kind of so most of the people know XGBoost from a very high level point of view, and I feel so, because what I have saw in the most of the YouTube videos as well, that XGBoost has not been taught in very depth in most of the YouTube videos. I'm not sure. Yeah. So basically, so this kind of, so if you have kind of knowledge of boosting, if you have the knowledge of ADA boosting, you can merge them up and you can create your own XGBoost. But that won't help if the interview is good enough. So it will actually tell that you are familiar with these kind of ADA boosting model or the boosting model, and that will actually convey the thing that you are familiar with this kind of thing, and you can pick the XGBoost if you are given a considerable amount of opportunity and amount of time. So that the confidence will actually convey from you to your interviewer that you can do it. So this is the main thing I focus before
That's
any
a very important point. Even if you don't know certain things, because the domain is so vast that you might be not aware of a lot of things, but you can at least give the initial idea and you can build on that. That is what people are looking for. Yeah, yeah. That's a very good point. Got it. Got it. Okay. So firstly, you gave us good idea that how should anybody start with the preparation strategy and what are the topics that they should focus on. So let's come to the last or maybe I would say second last section of the episode. Could you define the internship experience, not experience per se, but the interview? How many rounds were there? If there are 2 rounds, 3 rounds, what was the first round? What is the second round? So, whatever you told in this episode, you have done 2 internships by now. So, if you can give a brief idea for both the internships separately, that would give a very crisp idea to all the viewers that what would they be expected of when they are appearing for an internship role at any company.
Yeah. So I'll answer in 2 parts. So first for the Uber internship and the second for the Swiggy internship. So for the first Uber internship, as I was in my first year, so they were not, and it was also an on-campus internship. So they were not expecting a huge amount of theoretical knowledge at that point of time. So basically, my first round was basically a SQL round, where we have to code 3 SQL questions along with 1 mathematical question. So this was the screening round, out of which only 14 were selected. So now coming to the interview rounds. So the there was 2 interview rounds for Uber. So first one is the technical round, and the second one was a techno managerial round. So in the first technical round, it was mainly based on Python basics, and kind of there was one Python DSA question, like one DSA question was asked and I had to code it in Python. So no C++ was allowed at the time because I have to code in Python itself in the industry also. So yeah. So I had to code one DSA question in Python. That was a kind of lead code medium question. If you are familiar with lead code, you might be able to solve it within like 15 to 20 minutes. That was a medium question. And the second thing was like I was tested vastly on Python basics. Like I'll not say basics, but some intermediate concept of Python, like the decorator. Yeah, so the like the decorator, like iterator, generator, this kind of stuffs. They tested me, and some basic questions like what are the difference between tuples and these kind of things, and finally there was a question on SQL itself in the technical round. So they shared like a Google Sheet with me which was containing some data, and I had to they asked me how will you query something. So I had to write it in front of them. So the main thing I felt over there in the interview. So whenever you are coding something in front of the interviewer, so whenever it's a machine coding round kind of, so it's more important that you might be you must be very much vocal with your thinking process. So whatever you're thinking in mind, so if you just code it down like a robot, it will not help you very much, because a lot of 100 other interviewees can also code the same thing. But what the person in front of you are actually looking. So how are you able to explain the process of your thinking towards them, because that is what you will be needing whenever you go for any kind of real world task. So you have to explain whatever you are doing. So the explainability of your work and the explainability of your thought process is actually what matters in front of the machine coding round. So that was the first thing. And in the techno managerial round, it was mostly a case study based round, where I was given a real world case study of what Uber faces day to day. And I had to it was a way of vague case study. So the main point I'd like to add over here in the case study part, like you will be given a very vague case study. So the main thing you have to do, you have to ask a lot of questions to gather a lot of information about that question that you are asked. So if you ask a lot of questions and if you can think of a lot of edge cases or out of the box scenarios, that will actually help you to gather information about the case study that you are given with, because that case study can be handled in innumerate number of ways by a lot of students. So what matters is actually your thought process and your problem solving skills in the case studies.
And asking the right questions, that is more important.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the first part of my Uber internship, interview experience. And coming to the Swiggy internship, so it was firstly a case study based round after my resume selection. Like case study based round, I mean, it was a offline interview, offline round. So I was given a case study where I had to solve that case study in Jupyter Notebook, and I had to submit them within 2 days. So problem statement was given to me with the data set, and I had to solve that with some like EDA and some kind of model fitting and testing. And I had to submit the entire Jupyter notebook with some kind of README file to the consider to the authority that have provided. So after that case study based machine coding round, I was called for the interview, where the first round was mainly on machine learning theory. So that machine learning theory was not very much in depth, but the what are the kinds of what are the kinds of different models that you are familiar with, and some of the details about the models, some nitty gritty of deep learning, like the optimization part, some of the some RMS prop, Adam optimizer, this kind of optimizer, what are the difference between them, this kind of things. This was the first round. And the second round was taken second round was basically a round where which was conducted based on my previous internship experience. So the second round was basically a round where I had to explain whatever I have done on my Uber internship. And it was one of the challenging round, I would say, because what I have not done in my internship, I had to incorporate those things. And so the interviewer had asked me, so you have done this kind of things in your Uber internship. So let's say you have not done this kind of things in your internship. So how will you incorporate these things if you had to do it in your internship and in your model? If you had to incorporate these things, how would you incorporate those things in your model? So this was very challenging because you have to ad hoc, you have to think ad hoc in that moment, those kind of solutions. Yeah. So this was the second round, and the third round was taken it was mainly a case study, again a case study based round, where I was given a real life case study of Swiggy that Swiggy faced day to day, and I have to come up with some solutions with that.
Okay.
That was mainly
in short, around 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually an elaborate explanation, and all the viewers would definitely help with that. So they will definitely have a lot of idea now whenever they are applying and going for an internship. They would know what kind of rounds to expect and how they can go about it. Okay, so this brings us to the last section of the episode. This is the last part. Let's suppose somebody who has an interview. So I ask this question to everybody who comes on this series. So let's suppose you have an interview tomorrow, and considering that you have only few hours, maybe 5 to 6 hours that you can prepare for that interview, what would be the top 5 things that you would prepare for an interview for which you have only 5 hours to prepare? 4 to 5 hours, give or take.
Okay. So I'm considering that it is a data science interview.
It's a data science interview.
Because, yeah. So if it is a data science interview, so the first thing I would study, because I'm a bit weak in that part, that is the statistics. So basically, there might be some, if I'm going for some risk or this kind of domain interview, there might be a need for the statistics, in-depth statistics. So I had a note prepared with me. So basically, I also suggest your viewers to keep these kind of things in handy. So whenever you are going for any kind of interview, keeping these kind of notes is very handy. So you can keep a statistics note or a probability, like all the distributions note, what are the mean and the variation, this kind of thing handy. So this is the first thing, statistics and probability I'll go for. And the second thing, I'll go for the classical machine learning models. And basically, if you're studying those for quite a long time, you'll be able to have an intuition and all the details in your mind. But just for understand, like just for revision, you can go for what are the top things, or the top kind of advantages and disadvantages of model can offer you, and when you can use that model, and when you can don't use that model. This kind of thing, this kind of classical ML things you can go for. And obviously some deep learning. So deep learning is a never ending process. So whenever every day a new thing is getting added into your nodes, so you have to be keeping a running mode of that deep learning things. So I would suggest like study about the optimizers, study about the backpropagation, study about the loss function, different loss function, this kind of thing. So probability, statistics, classical ML, deep learning. And finally, I would love to study some of the details of like some functions of SQL. So if you are had to code in a live coding round, so there might be some keywords that you may miss, like how to convert one timestamp to date or date to timestamp. This kind of keywords may be missing too, so you can revise those kind of SQL keywords with you. These are the things I would rather study.
Okay, that would definitely help a lot of people, because yeah, these are the things that you can brush up. So even if you have not prepared much, or you have prepared, because it's so vast. So in the end, maybe a couple of days before, or maybe the last day, you can just brush it up, so that these are the most important things, so which have a higher probability of being asked in the end. So Saptarshi, that brings to the conclusion of the episode. First of all, thank you to sparing your time on a weekend and giving out all the detailed info regarding your internship experience, your preparation strategy. So that would definitely help to will be helpful to all the viewers. One thing that I would ask for your permission is, could I tag your LinkedIn profile? So on maybe on LinkedIn and on YouTube as well, so that anybody who wants to get connected, have any queries regarding it, they can directly connect to you, and so that you would be in a better state to answer whatever their queries have based on the episode, or whatever you have mentioned in that. If,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
got it, got it. So I will definitely tag you, and anybody who has any queries regarding the entire episode, whatever Saptarshi has covered, feel free to ask Saptarshi, and feel free to add in your connection. Yeah. So thanks, Saptarshi, for doing this. It will definitely be helpful to a lot of people.
Thank you for calling me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hope you soon join a company and we again do it with your different kind of preparation strategy and a different kind of interview experience that you have there.
Yeah. Hope so.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks.